Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on something that I covered late last year and that I said will definitely happen, and here we are, and today the president has announced that it will happen. Now, what am I talking about? Well, before we get there, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free, and the overwhelming majority of you that regularly watch my content aren't subscribed, but you can fix that by just clicking the subscribe button below. Alright, so I'm talking about the pay increase for government officials in South Africa. Now, the inflation rate is, I would say, 2.8 to 3%. But of course, being the ANC and being the government of this country, they have decided to reward themselves with an above inflation rate increase. Now, what am I talking about? Let's have a look. Now, as expected, Ramaphosa approves a 100,000 Rand salary increase for South Africa's millionaire ministers. And as you can read over here, it says President Ramaphosa has approved a 3.8% salary increase for South Africa's top politicians, including ministers, deputy ministers, and parliamentarians. The approval of the above inflation pay hike comes following the recommendation from the Independent Commission for the Remuneration of Public Office Bearers in December. The Commission had recommended an increase of 4.1% for politicians, but the final approval rate was 0.3 percentage points lower at 3.8% for the National Executive and Parliament. However, the approval rates for the provincial legislature were in line with the 4.1% recommendation. In determining its recommendation of a 4.1% increase, the Commission noted the steep decline in inflation last year. Initial projections were for the figure to average 4.5% at the beginning of the year, but this dropped to 3.5% by the end of the year. It conducted a series of interviews and surveys among financial institutions and researchers. It said it was of the view that the realistic base range for inflation forecast for 25-26 should be between 3.5 and 4.5%. Long story short, in essence, this means that the government is getting a beautiful increase. But as you can see over here, the president, it's still to be discussed. That's great. So we don't even know what the president's increase is going to be. But then when you look at the deputy president, it's an increase of 120,000 Rand for the year. A minister will get 102,000 Rand extra. A deputy minister will get 84,000 Rand extra a year. And then members of parliament, just look at the increases there on the right, the change, and you can see it. Now, of course, this excludes the benefits. They're not talking about the benefits like tools of trade and travel and accommodation and all these extras that they receive. As you can see, just a normal member of parliament, the new increase is a 48,000 Rand difference a year. I mean, they already get paid 1.274, now they're going to get 1.32 million. And the provincial executive, you can also see the increases are 100,000, 90,000, 50,000 increases. A member of the provincial legislature baseline is a difference of 50,000 Rand. Now, what they don't tell you is that this is applicable to councillors as well. So it is from a local level all the way up to a national level. So it's national, provincial, and municipal. Now, this is going to cost the South African taxpayers billions in extra remuneration that they have to pay. But of course, politicians know that they need to eat first. They need to look after themselves first, So when the EFF wear their miners outfit and their domestic worker outfits, then just realize that this is a play for them, because none of them will live like a domestic worker or like a miner because of the salaries that they get. And this is from a councillor all the way up to ministers and the president of this country. Now, the question that I've got to ask is, do they deserve this increase? Has South Africa overall improved by 3.5 to 4.1%? Do they deserve this increase that is more than what most people around the country that is working in a private job will get? Most people didn't get an increase, and I highly doubt that they would have received an increase to this tune that is on par with what the government is rewarding themselves with. Because ultimately, the government decides their own pay, which is just absolutely absurd. It's like they sit around a table and go, We believe that we deserve an increase this year because we did so much. It's absolute insanity that the government can decide on what their own pay increase needs to be. You don't see this anywhere else in the private sector. Most people in this country didn't get an increase in the same aspect of how government officials got an increase. But once again, what usually happens is people that can't actually get a job in the private sector decides to join a political party, get involved in politics, and then it's an easy paycheck. Metro councillor around South Africa roughly gets about 53,000 Rand a month. Now, please tell me, for the amount of skills that you need to become a councillor, which is none in this country, getting paid 53,000 Rand is very attractive, and that is why there are so many people that kill each other for those positions, and there are so many people that are competing with one another to become a government official, to become a public representative, because the salary you get for the amount of work that you put in, it's non-comparable. Now, most councillors, members of the provincial legislature, and members of parliament don't deserve that paycheck. They're not qualified to earn that amount of money, because you don't really need a qualification in government in order to become a minister, a councillor, a member of parliament, or a member of provincial legislature. And that is why so many South Africans have got such a big issue with the amount of money that they get paid. And listen, I also got paid this amount of money when I was a councillor and when I was a member of parliament, but nobody could dispute that I worked for every single cent of that salary. Now, the problem, of course, is that we know that the vast majority of people don't work, and yet they get these type of increases. And that is why taxpayers, specifically in this country, are getting so upset with this, because we know that unemployment is rising. We know that service delivery is non-existent and infrastructure around this country is collapsing, but yet politicians are rewarding themselves by a 3.5 to a 3.8% increase, whilst the rest of South Africa either loses their jobs or they have to settle for the same pay for the last 2, 3, or 4 years. Now, that is why so many people are upset. That is why so many people are critical of the government. But because you can clearly see that these individuals aren't working for their money, they aren't qualified to have those positions. In actual fact, most politicians shouldn't even be allowed to run a tuck shop for a school, but yet they are in control of budgets that are millions or billions of rand in size. So ultimately, well done to the government for once again patting themselves on the back for doing a great job, when it's very clear for everybody to see that over the last year, South Africa just deteriorated more. So their pay goes up and the quality of life in South Africa goes down. That is the correlation right there. And until we break that, and until we put a system in place where you can get a salary if you can clearly indicate that you have performed to the best of your ability, until such time, we are doomed, because the fat cats will just keep on paying themselves more, and the quality and the level of services will just deteriorate further. And that's pretty much all I got to say, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. However, if you would like to support me and this channel, you can consider becoming a member. That'll cost you 39.99 Rand a month, but that is in support of me and this channel, and you can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's all I got to say, everybody. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.